hmm Yeah, when we, y'all ain't ready. I don't think y'all ready tonight. I don't think y'all ready tonight. No, I don't. But you already know. Alexa, stop. I was feeling that joint right there. I was feeling that joint right there. What's going on, everybody? Live this joint. Welcome to another edition of Real Talk for Real Men on this Wednesday. How you doing, Tasha? How you doing, D? All right, all right. I have to get myself zoned up, y'all. Today was start day, so I literally got off work an hour late, dealing with numbskullery and foolishness. I ain't gonna say the other word. So I have to get myself mentally prepared to handle this topic, but I'm looking forward to it. So we're gonna kind of coast for about another 3 or 4 minutes. I want to give some people a chance to join. So as always, I like to kind of say hello to my normal people in my panel. So how are you guys' week? How's it going? Okay, good. Good deal. All right. You look relaxed then. No wonder you look so relaxed. Like you just been chilling on the beach or something. So good deal. Good deal. So for me, like Tasha, I'm glad that it's hump day. We've got past that. My week tends to go well once I get past this day. This is the toughest day because I close on Tuesdays and Wednesday get up early, and I've been going nonstop. But I want to thank everybody for joining us. We're going to have a fantastic conversation, I hope. Uh, no matter how many people on here. So we're going to talk about something serious tonight. So we're waiting on a few other people to join so we can get into it. But for you already tuning in, tonight we're going to be talking about something a little serious. We're going to be talking about emotional incest. And so I just want to kind of give a few more people an opportunity to kind of join on because as we get into it, this is not one of those subjects I'm going to backtrack a whole lot on. So anybody coming in late, hopefully you can get in where you fit in, because I really want to be able to cover this thoroughly. And let me say off the bat, I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't even play one here on Real Talk. I'm just a guy. You know, but what I do is I like to talk about things that are real. That is the moniker of the show. So I don't shy away from anything. And just so you know, I don't always pick the topics. This topic was picked by Tasha. So when we get started, I'm going to let her kind of go into, why she wanted to bring this one to the forefront. And then, of course, if you throw out topics to me, I'm welcome. I'll pick them up. So, welcome to Real Talk. Please, you're more than welcome to come on camera. I'd love to see some new faces. But even if you don't want to come on camera, I'd like to see some new commentary. Please shoot your questions, your comments, post them there. I've already listed the link where if you want to join, if you have Android, if you're doing this via phone, all you got to do is copy and paste that link in there. It's used best on Google Chrome. If you've got an iPhone, it's best if you use Safari. It's real simple. You'd be in my waiting room. You'll be able to come on, share your thoughts, share your views. We don't hurt you here at Real Talk for Real Men. We always give you a nice soft place to land. And so, we my motto as I do my shows is we can even agree to disagree. So this is a safe forum where you can speak your opinion because we welcome everybody's opinion. That's how we learn. So I'm looking forward to hearing different viewpoints on the subject tonight. Welcome, Candace. How you doing, sweetheart? No, I'm doing all right. How are you? I say you already started early with your wine. Um, so I had promised I was not going to drink tonight, but it's been a tough, rough day, long, long day. So I am going to imbibe a little later. I'm going to try to pace myself, but I am going to imbibe a little bit. Welcome, Siri. How you doing this evening, sis? Fantastic. Fantastic. So I'm going to get started here. And I want to invite men, if you're around, please join this conversation. This is one of those topics where I'd love to hear your ideas. So I've sent out invites. I hope Kennard is able to join us. I hope he's running a little bit late. I invited Kendrick. You know what, Candace? I'm not sure. I know I don't have the messenger for um, Hannah and Bert. So if you would send them an invite, I'd love to have them on as a couple because this is a topic, especially if you have children, that you'll find this one very interesting. I think enlightening, and hopefully you'll learn something. Legia out there, Yana, G. Paul, all of you guys. So hey, I'm welcoming. So we're gonna go ahead on and get started. So we're gonna get this thing cracking, just so you know. So, okay, so I want to pause the blood seed, man. You know, want to keep him quiet. No, okay, 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 okay. Tonight we're gonna be talking about emotional incest. And as I told you guys, anybody watching, I didn't choose tonight's topic, but I'm always looking for topics. I'm willing to do whatever. So, Tasha, I'm going to turn this over to you at the very beginning. And I want you to tell us, we did a little teaser. I don't know if you guys saw it, but I want you to tell the audience, as my co-host, why you thought this was a good topic to do. Okay. Okay. So thank you. And I appreciate you really laying out why it hit you. And she threw that at me. And the more I rolled it in my head, immediately I thought, well, you know what? This is an important topic because we always talk about the relationship between mothers and sons in particular. I've been talking about this for years. And then the more I thought about it, I even thought about, with daughters as well. It doesn't have to be one gender. And what really hit home for me as I thought about this and I started thinking about it, we talk about on our show, we've been doing this for a year, how parenting has changed. We just did a show a few times back where we talked about generations. And we really literally broke down the generations, the age gap. And so we are living in a time now where there aren't the traditional family households anymore. So the average household you look around, there isn't a traditional setting where there's a father and a mother. The thought dad goes out and works, the woman stays home. We're in a whole different place now. We all know that in many cases in households, grandmothers are in their late 30s or 40s. You know, we know that many in households, some parents and children are separated merely by 12, 13, 14 years sometimes. And so I'm sure you, like me, friends, you've seen relationships between a mother and child where it's more of a friendship. And that's the part what really set me off is because the more I watched things like TikTok and I'm in several groups on Facebook on social media, you know what I began to notice, especially since we all were quarantined during COVID-19. I began to notice the blurred lines between parents and children because you don't have the traditional roles anymore where parents tell kids what to do and they do it. Now there's a conversation. The children feel like they can stand on their own and hold their own and say no and things of that nature. So I got to thinking about this and I was like, wow, this might explain why so many people, in my case as a man, why so many women are not able to relate to normal relationships, you know. And I started thinking about the damage that some of this stuff could do. So I wanted to kind of explore this. So, for the purposes of this conversation, let's get it out there and actually define what is emotional incest. Now, going around the panel real quick, when you hear incest, Sherry, when you hear the word incest, what does that make you think about? Okay, you said a kid. Daracel, when you hear the word incest, what's it make you think of? And that really nails it. So I wanted to get that out there for the record. So Sherry, just in case you were thinking, it's not a kid. It's an inappropriate relationship within family bounds. Now we're all on here African American. One of us got a little mixture in her. You know, but but we know as African Americans we talked about family secrets, a few shows back. And I even revealed on that show that I had sexual relations with family members. Look, that's not an easy thing to mention. I don't say it with pride. I say it with the ultimate revelation of that's just my experience. That's the truth. And if most people would be honest, it actually happens far more often than we actually admit to it. But in this case, we're going to be talking about the inappropriate contact between parent and child. Now, because we're talking emotional incest, let me share some things with you and get you guys' thoughts on it. So right off the bat, emotional incest is not sexual. So let's get that out there right there. Because we all know that if we was talking about a parent in any context sleeping with their child, that's just nasty. Both of them need to be stoned and put so deep under the jail that it did none of them. That's just some nasty crap. So we're not talking about that. But we are talking about the unhealthy emotional interactions that blurs the boundaries between adults and children in a psychologically inappropriate way. Now, that's a lot of words. That's a lot of words, saying it that way. So I'm going to be giving some examples as I kind of get into it as well, you know, but it's also called covert incest. And when you hear the word covert, you think about hiding something, you know. And so that term was used because this type of inappropriate relationship is less noticeable than if you went out and touched somebody, So I want to ask the panel, thinking about it from that context, that level of inappropriate contact from parent to child, have you ever seen examples of this? Anybody? Okay. 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 Who else said that they've seen examples of this? Okay, D, what's been your experience with this? I'm so glad you really brought that out, Darcel, because sometimes it could actually be information. The way the parent-child relationship was originally designed, there should be a parent, there should be a child, and there should be a clear distinction in those roles. And so, like you said, it could be like imparting too much adult information on a kid to where he or she is burdened with responsibility that should be on the parent. But I'm gonna give you guys some others to think of. How many times have we seen in our time parents partying with their kids? You know, Once upon a time, believe it or not, I was the king of clubs. I wasn't this fat slug you see here. I was slim and did my thing. I partied quite a bit. And I thought back to how many times when even going out, I actually knew people, they were going out. And I always thought that was inappropriate because growing up with my mom, and again, I'm 53, my mom is in her 80s. So it is the boundaries were set. I mean, for as far as I can remember, in our household, me and Sherry, is brother and sister, we heard, I'm the parent, you the child. I ain't your equal. That was inbred in us so deeply. There was never going to be a blurring of the lines of whether she let you know, I am not your friend. And I think about the generations that came after that. A lot of parents, they make that a goal. I'm going to be my child's best friend. How many times have we heard that? I'm going to be my child's best friend. And so I want to be clear, because we're talking about blurring the lines. We're not saying in any way that a mother and a daughter can't go shopping together. We're not saying that. A mother and a daughter going out to get their hair nailed, their spa day. We're not saying a mom can't take her son to the movies. We're talking about when it becomes inappropriate, you know. And I'll throw another one on you. How about the father and the 14, 15-year-old daughter who comes in, and every time she comes in, she plops down on his lap. I was going to ask you, as women, how do you feel about that? Think about Hollywood premieres, when the Grammys or whatnot, and you see sons show up with their mom as the date. You know, now it's one thing when, hey, I'm having a great accomplishment. I want my parent to be there. But I've seen some cringe-worthy moments where literally they're like there as a date. And then it's one thing when you do it one time, but at every premiere, your parent is your date. You kind of start to have to wonder, what's going on here. So there are three different types of incest, emotional incest. You got overt, covert, and emotional. Now, incest, that's where the sexual energy takes place without touching. And as I read this, I want you guys to formulate in your mind, where have you seen this? So remember, covert incest is the sexual energy without touching now. So this is going to include things like peering at the child, having an inappropriate crush, inappropriate sexual talk, coming into the bathroom, you know, and walking in a room while the child is undressing. Put that in your brain. What's going on, Jenny P? How you doing? Now, I hate to say this out loud, but I'm going to say it. We just had a former president. What did you guys think of his relationship with his daughter? Wow. Wow. There you go. Wow. 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 That's big. I thought, man, I tell you, so these things get revealed, and then you tuck that back into your brain all of these years, and now you bring up that memory. You know, think about the John Benet Ramsey case that's never been solved. Think about. Okay, okay. Well, Tasha solved it, absolutely. But I'm not convinced it was the brother, because, and I'm gonna tell you why. And I bring that up in this context because if I'm a father and I had my little girl in these pageants and she's dressed up and made up to look like a little woman, I would never allow that as a dad. That to have my daughter that sexualized, and you see, if you know anything about these pageants, they're little women. They're literally little women. And don't think that only happens in white families. We all on here black. Let's talk about even in African American communities. Our little daughters are in these, what you call these little, where they flip and tumble. You know what I'm saying? Little dance troops and whatnot. Their little butts scrimped up all tight in these little pants and this and that. They flipping around. I mean, when you think of some of this stuff, it's kind of inappropriate, and there's nobody stepping in, and parents are cheering them on. You think about these things, you know. So that one was covert. Overt incest is sexual contact by a relative. So that's just plain and simple. So that's the one that I experienced. My mama didn't touch me. I was sorry, mom. I didn't find you attractive. So that didn't happen. you know, so that wasn't gonna happen. But there was cousins, and that it happened. So that's a different type that happened. And finally, you got emotional incest. Is it talks about when the roles are reversed, and it gives an example. A parent is lonely and turns to the child for support. The child becomes the adult emotionally, and the adult becomes the child. And again, the parent and the child are best friends. The parent and the child are emotionally enmeshed because now you've erased the boundaries. What do you guys think about that? You know it when you see it. You know it when you see it. Absolutely. So okay. We've kind of really got into it. So I want to talk about in what ways does emotional incest manifest itself and investigate that a little bit further. So I've got some scenarios here, and I'm going to bring them up, excuse me, and then I want to get you guys' take on it. But I want to do something a little different with this. I don't want to just talk about it in the abstract context. I want you guys, and I want to discuss it on here as to how you guys think this relates, how it affects relationships between men and women. Because we can sit here, like I said, and we've seen those examples of famous people, but I wanted to get real. This show is called Real Talk for Real Men. Darcel, you froze up right when you was getting ready to take a drink. What's going on, brother Kennard? So I'm gonna bring I'm gonna bring some examples, but I want us to talk about it in a real way in terms of how it affects interrelationships between men and women today. So the first one we're going to talk about, we kind of mentioned it, but I want to go into it a little deeper. Asking the child for advice on adult issues. Darcel, you touched on that, especially on matters of money and things like that. So I'm going to read a little bit of this to this. It talks about spousal difficulties, sexual feelings, worries about problems that do not directly involve the child. Are all topics more suitable to discuss with adults? Inviting children into the problem of adult relationships can blur the boundaries. A parent should not have to rely on their child to guide them through romantic or social turmoil. By asking advice on adult issues, the child is subtly positioned in a place of responsibilities because now the roles are reversed. How do you think that plays into relationships between men and women and dating? Anybody? Right. Okay. 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 Very good points. Okay, go ahead, Tasha. Okay. 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 Good point. Good point. Okay. So Sherry and D, I've got two examples of this, but I wanted to get your input if you had any input on that. We're talking about asking the child for advice on adult issues. D or Sherry? Yeah, it paused in a little bit, but go ahead. Okay. Question. I got a question, D. So in wanting to avoid being like your mom, how did that impact you dealing with the opposite sex? Okay. 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 Sherry, did you have anything to add? Okay, okay. But what I'm asking about is the asking a child for advice on adult issues and how that plays into the inappropriateness of that dealing with relationships. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. 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 So let me share what where I'm getting at. Two examples for you guys to consider. One dealing with the male, one dealing with the female, for example. So when you got a male where the mom is sharing, asking for advice, and putting that male child in that position where he is to make decisions, or those roles have reversed. Let me tell you how that directly affects things. So now you're sending a young man out into the world, and guess what happened? Guess what? He's looking for a woman like his mother that's broken and interdependent on him making the decision. That's the manifestation of that. Because if you're 13, 14, let me finish, Kennard. Because if you're 13, 14 years old, and then your mom is constantly going to that child, you think we ought to do this? You think we ought to do that? Well, what do you think? I was watching an episode of one of my favorite shows, Love It or Listed, and the mom literally was involving the young son to make major decisions about how the house should be designed. So guess what? Inadvertently, what she's doing to him is that when he gets grown and he's looking for a woman, he's going to be looking for what he sees. He's going to be looking for that woman who cannot make independent decisions without him. That's the manifestation of that. And real quick, Kennard, I ain't forgot you, but I want to give you an example on the other side. Let me give you an example on the other side. I was dating somebody that I was absolutely in love with. I fell in love with this person. But you know what? Through the entire relationship, I had to keep hearing about what her dad thinks, because her dad, growing up with that, D, you can feel this. Through the entire relationship, she talked so much about how her and her dad were best friends. They did everything together, and her dad talked to her about this and about that. And so, what happens is you got these women out here, and in their mind, dad put me up on game. Dad is educating me on how men is. But there is a flip side to that. As a dad, you're sharing so much inappropriate information with this young girl that now she thinks she's looking to date her dad. And I can't tell you how many times I had to let her know before ultimately ended, I'm not fucking your dad. I'm fucking you. Your dad's going to cost you a relationship here, you know. And even when I met her dad, my thing was she wanted dad's approval on me. And me and Tasha experienced that watching a show just last week. And we were talking about this. So, how that manifests itself in terms of relationships is it creates people that have unrealistic expectations in the opposite sex and making bad choices. You understand what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, Ken. Now go ahead, my brother. Sorry, man. Sorry. I was on the roll, Canard. I was on the roll, man. I'm sorry. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hmm. We gonna get to that. We gonna get to that. We gonna get to that. I got you. I got you. But here's the point to that. Long as you don't blur those lines, so we're not talking about good parenting. We're talking about when it blurs the line. So you're right. So you're right. Let me right, right. Absolutely. Hold that thought. Kennard, Kennard, hold that thought because you're going into some of my other points. Go ahead, D. Good point. Good point. Good point. Good point. Good point. D. That's the point I want to take. Yeah, that's one of the key points I want to take away. That you've got that parent that unfortunately this is their only avenue they feel to be able to lean on. And I want to get the point in of Kama Dizzy. Kama Dizzy, I love the name. First of all, Kama Dizzy says she was talking about a point I was making. I hope you said that how we have had to become father figures by force. So a lot of young men are forced to grow up much quicker than they have to. So guess what, folks? How does that translate in terms of how we relate to each other? So if you've got a young man growing up in a household, and to Kama's Disney's point, and they're forced to become an adult way quicker than they have to, guess what happens, ladies? Now you wonder why you got a 40, 50-year-old man out there acting like he's in his 20s because he's lost his childhood. So when you see that guy, and we talked about Club for earlier. So when you see that back in my clubbing days, D, Tasha, remember in those days when you see that 45-year-old man out there on the dance floor and he just getting it and doing all the young dances? Now we're thinking to ourselves, you look like a damn fool, but the sad part about it, there's a psychology maybe behind why this person is chasing their youth because guess what? Maybe they grew up in a household where they were forced to make adult decisions for so long for what they lost their childhood. So now they can only relate to trying to be young and things of that nature. It matters, people. Jenny, I like your point earlier where you talked about for you, it was a definite no no of having daughter sitting on dad's lap, so I appreciate that. Let me go into point to situation number two, because we're talking about in what ways does emotional incest manifest itself and how it impacts relationships. So, this one is talking about the ego hunger. Check this out, y'all. It says sometimes parents will encourage or lead the child to consistently praise their effort or even personality. This can be done in the privacy of one's own home or in public where other adults can see the child's apparent adoration of the parent. The need to feel important can take over, forcing the child's visibility to take a backseat to the parent's esteem or narcissism. You get what they're talking about? Mhm. Good point. Oh, D, you nailed it. You nailed it. You nailed it. And and before you go there, let me share what I'm in this case. What I see that manifests itself so much. This is not always mothers and sons. That's the obvious one. Now, and that's the obvious. Matter of fact, that's the obvious inappropriate one. I know situations where the mom was getting dressed and asked the son to zip her up. I've seen it. I've seen it. What's all of this? I'm gonna do you one worse. Hold on, I'm gonna do you one worse. How about unzip me? D, go ahead. I didn't hear you. D frozen. She froze, but not just zip her up. The one that would, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, your connection is freezing. Go ahead. I do. Now, would I have done it? Of course, because you do what you're told to do. But think, but okay. Before I finish that, go ahead. You had more thought to it. Go ahead. Okay, so again, for me, as a child, I would have to do it. But here's the danger of that when that becomes somewhat of a norm situation, because I'm a teenager, my hormones are raging everywhere. So how do you know in those instances that now I'm starting to see my mom in a sexual way? Is it is it registering? No, 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 you got it twisted. A child's psychology is not formed yet. So let me share some things with you as as a young man. When I'm in that age group of 12 to probably well about 11 to probably about 16, Sherry, the wind could blow and my dick get hard. Everything turns me on. So it's no coincidence that in that age group, that's when brothers and sisters should stop sharing a room. Do you agree with that? Why? So why? Why do you think that in that age group, we brother and sister, there came a time when undressing and dressing in front of each other was inappropriate. Why? I'm asking for real reasons that you and I shared a room. So why did it come to a point where okay now that's inappropriate for me to be when you dress and undress? Why? You're not answering my question. I'm asking you a question. Why did it come to a point that it was inappropriate for you and I to be watching each other dress and undress? So, and you reached a point where we're no longer kids anymore. Now I got hair on my balls. You got breasts. So no, 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 no. I'm not leaving that point. So if I'm unzipping mom and I'm seeing things that I shouldn't see, you don't think that's inappropriate? I think she's missing the point. Somebody help me out here. You're missing the point. there comes a there comes a point. Our mom is 80 something years old now. So guess what? If I had to give her a bath, I'd have to give her a bath. As they get older. We're not talking about isolated incidences where something like that has to be done. A family member is sick. You got to wipe them and clean them. They're an invalid. I'm talking about where you get to a point where that son is of an age where there should come a point where he doesn't need to see that. And if you got on a dress that you need my help to get out of, something is really wrong. Something is really wrong because if you can see the need that as a sister that okay, I don't want my brother helping me get undressed. Why would it be okay for your mother? Am I crazy here? Uh-huh. So in that instance, we grew up poor. There was no other room I could room with. So the point to this is that yes, you're proving my point that I'm thinking about sex. You're actually proving my point. So my thing is that knowing that's the case, now you can't sit here and tell the audience that I jacked my dick off in front of you. So for all I know, you played in your pussy when I wasn't around. I don't know. But the point is that there comes a point where it becomes inappropriate to do certain things around each other. And if you can realize that as a brother and sister, it's even more inappropriate as a parent. You're a parent. Mhm. Um, Darcel, thank you for bringing that example because now you've turned the tables, and all of a sudden, if it's a dad doing it, then Tony's her father. Oh my God, I didn't even think about that. Thank you. Tony's her father. Tony had a stroke. So we gonna talk some real shit on here? Let's talk some real shit. So Tony's her dad. Would it be appropriate for him to say to his daughter, help me in the shower? I need you to help me get undressed. But he's had a stroke. What if you're not around? What no. What if you just presented a situation? So what if you're not around? You're going somewhere, you down visiting mama. He's got to get in the shower and he got to go take a number two dump. So he needs chairs to help him get his pants down. No. Stop. We're not talking about whether he know better. Is that appropriate? So, Daracel, thank you for presenting an opportunity because that's another beautiful point there that we only see it if it's the opposite sex from because again, we don't want to see it when it's the mother and son because you can't see it that way. So I'm giving it to you in a real way. You've completely missed the point. You've completely missed the point. Yeah, you've completely missed the point. So let me state again, we are not for the because I don't want anybody else listening to this to be on that same vein. The whole point where we're talking about is inappropriate. So we are not talking about audience. We are not talking about isolated incidences where you deal with each other as a parent and as a child. Certainly, people, if your mom is sick or ill, or it can be a sister, brother, mom, aunt, and you have to get them undressed, we're not talking about that. that clearly we're not talking about that. I suffer from sciatica. And if you were staying with me last week, a couple of weeks ago, and I had to crawl to the bathroom, I might say, Sherry, I'm in dying agony pain. Hold me up, sis, while I take a piss and turn your head away. There are circumstances, Sherry, where you have to do certain things. So we're not talking about those instances. We're talking about knowing inappropriate behavior. Is that registering? So in this instance, what we were talking about is a parent, and the example I'm giving is asking a son that's of a certain age to help her get undressed. Now, if you can see that that's wrong for if you can see that that's wrong for Tony to do it to your daughter, I'm not understanding why you think any different if the roles are reversed. Cause now I don't understand. You don't have to be look. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so let me jump back to the ego. Lynette, thank you for joining in, sweetheart. So I'm hoping I get your point that it is inappropriate for a father to ask his child to assist getting dressed, because again, that's a no-brainer. But the beauty of what Sherry brought up is we can see it as a woman. We can see it so clear if the dad is asking, but it's amazing how when it's the mom, we kind of say, well, what's wrong with that? So what have I been saying for years? Mothers and sons. Mothers and sons, you know. But when we brought up whether it's a father and a daughter, she's saying no. Oh hell no. He know better. So I want you to process that, sis. But okay, back to the ego hunter part where that parent is seeking that unnecessary ego boost, and we were talking about social media and things like that. We see that happening as well, where the parent is looking for approval from the child on how I dress, how I look, things like that. And so again, how does that manifest itself in terms of how now we deal with each other individually as women and men? Think about that. So I'm gonna shift. Go ahead. I was gonna answer. No, go D. Go D. I, and so let me flex my intellectual muscle here. In most cases, y'all know that I'm an opinionated asshole, but I'm also an educated person as well. So Darcel talked about the Oedipus complex. So the input of what she was saying, which I agree with, as children, we tend to look for mates that have qualities like our parents. That's who we see. But the key is here, guys, is as a parent to be able to guide that interest in a wholesome, healthy way. So guess what? When I look for a wife, Tasha, D, Sherry, I wanted my wife to have some qualities of my mom, the right ones. My mother is headstrong, opinionated, don't take no shit from nobody. That's what I fell in love with Michelle, that she could hold her own. One of the I'm sorry, I'm saying names over here. I shouldn't have said that. But one of the reasons why I think I fell in love with Michelle, and one of the reasons why my wife butted heads with my sisters in particular, she was a lot like my mother. She was small, petite, and she wasn't having it. She was not having it. But the key is that, thank God, my mom never let anything inappropriate go on. So the qualities I grew to admire as I got out there in the dating scene was Sherry, I wanted my wife to clean up like my mother because my mother kept a clean home. I zeroed in on those characteristics and qualities that I held in esteem that was like her, but not the inappropriate ones. Because our mother also told stories about putting her foot on the rock and letting the boys get the cock. And so I had to ignore those. I'm keeping with this is a real, we keep it real. We keeps it real. We gonna keep it real. You know, but we keep it real. So there was things where I heard that, but I wouldn't dare in my mind picture my mom with her legs spread out on a big rock so where the boys could get a cock. I don't want to see that. I just don't want to see that. I'm making it funny, but I'm telling it in a very real way. But these things matter. They translate into how we deal with the opposite sex is what I'm trying to get at. Because even in the instance, Sherry, to where you got that daughter that's inappropriately seeing her father, then you wonder why that's the type of woman that has no boundaries, that I can get and I can put her on her knees and have 3 or 4 people go down her throat. She don't have no boundaries. You know what I'm saying? It's no coincidence, you know. I was a predator out there. I was a wild lion looking for the qualities that I could exploit. Let's just keep it honest. You know what I'm saying? But when you have somebody raised with a certain level of there were boundaries. Oh no, I don't do this. I don't do that. But it matters, folks. It matters. You know. Let's go to the third one. Let's go to the third one. What about the best friend syndrome? This is one that we all should be able to really appreciate how this really and truly impacts relationship between men and women. When a parent is best friends with their child, boundary issues often occur. Discipline, expectations, and personal responsibility are all impacted by this behavior. Having a confidant who is not capable or ready to handle adult relationships is forcing the child to set aside their social and psychological world for the sake of their parents. Think about that. Now, real quick, I'm going to put my sister on the spot here, but I'm going to put you on the spot in a good way. My sister and her daughter are best friends. They have one of the best relationships that you ever will want to see between a mother and a daughter. My sister knows where her child is at all times. Her daughter is a grown woman dating, kicking it, screwing. Let's be honest, you know. But when she goes somewhere, mama knows where she's at. She calls and says, I'm here or I'm there. I'm on my way home. They live in New York City, folks, and they have to. Me and my sister were talking about this today with people snatching women and nut holes out there. They keep a very close relationship with each other, but here's what they don't do. As close of friends as they are, they don't. Her daughter doesn't tell her about the position she was in and what she did last night. You know, they don't cross those boundaries. You know why? Because even though as adults they've been able to be good friends, my sister, when she was a child, let's go back to the reading now. My sister did set the expectations. She did have a lot of discipline, and she insisted on personal responsibility. Her daughter was washing dishes and cleaning house and cooking full meals at what age, Sherry? Could your daughter stay up as long as she wanted to? I could go on and on and on. And I'm putting you on the spotlight for a reason because there's an example of it's okay when your child becomes grown to be friends and have the best relationship possible if you do it right. But this is not the ones we're talking about. We're talking about those relationships, and Sherry, you've seen this where it's a different relationship because the mother and daughter or the mother and son are best friends and there's no respect. Am I lying, folks? You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. Sherry, is this hitting home? Sherry, you nodding your head. Sherry, sis, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. You nodding your head. Is this real? And let me ask a question. We're not gonna say no names, but what happens when a son and a mother is more best friends than they are parent and child, and that child now has had no boundaries, grew up, had no respect for the mother. How does that son now treat women that he deal with? Go. Why? You know, I was trying to get to that point, D. I was trying to get to that point right there. As a man, if you disrespect your mother, all bets are off. The moment you call your mama a bitch and I don't on that hoe and fuck that, how in the hell as his woman you think he gonna respect you and he just cussed his mama out? I'm I'm grown. I'm grown. And I can't imagine under any circumstances cussing my mama out. I cannot imagine any circumstances going there. And so, because that's the case, don't get me wrong. Have I cussed a woman out? Yes, under various circumstances. But I'm saying that's not my MO. Believe it or not, folks out there, for all of my hustling and bustling, the truth of the matter is, I actually put a woman up here first. My game is this: when I first meet you, you're actually here. You got something I want. You have the ability to go higher or go lower, depending on how you carry yourself. I got two women on here right now that when I met them, same this the principle was the same. But she was a beautiful. I met D as a cashier. First time walking up, seeing her, they called me in. Oh, don't think for one moment I didn't see that fat pumping ass. Yes, I did. You know, I peeped it from every possible angle. I walked all around. I made excuses to go by and look at her. But because of the way she carried herself, not only did she stay here, she went here. She went here. My baby girl Tasha, met her, came to my home, liked her from the first night because she sucked down that drink as quick as you could suck a golf ball through a hose and asked for another. I didn't have to offer her. I said, that's my kind of person. And don't think for one moment I didn't think about trying to fuck with her like that. But because she set her standards up here, that became my friend, and I see her in a different light. You know what I'm saying? So it's how you carry yourself. And I could tell those stories over and over and over because you got the other ones now that I start out treating you here, and then I throw something at you, and I realize, so shit, what you trying to do? It's whatever. Okay. So is it like that? You trying to suck some dick? Shit, it don't matter to me. For you know it, you on your knees, doing what you do best. It is what it is. I'm giving y'all some real talk here. What's going on, Shapana? How you doing, sweetie? I'm giving y'all some real talk because we laughing, but it matters. And the truth of the matter is, a lot of this stems from your experiences of how you were raised in a relationship you have with your parent. And it's not always just the fathers and daughters. That's why I'm bringing up these examples. Let me give my last one before we move on to the next point. The therapist role, putting a child in the driver's seat of an emotional crisis or adult relationship robs them of their own relationships and the ability to learn age appropriate socialization. I'm gonna repeat that because that one for me hit. That one hit for me. Putting a child in the driver's seat of an emotional crisis, catch what we're saying, or adult relationships robs them of their own relationships and the ability to learn age appropriate socialization. Later in life, the child may feel most comfortable taking care of someone else's emotional needs rather than their own. In some cases, it may be difficult for an adult child to have a stable romantic relationship since the need for crisis overrules the need for solidarity. Do y'all know what we're talking about here? Speak. Oh my God. I'm sorry. Go ahead, sis. Okay. Why you say that? Mm-hmm. 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 That's different. That's different. That's different what this is talking about. What you're talking about is looking at the mistakes that a parent has made, and like Darcel, and you said, I'm not going to make those decisions. That's different. Like I've told many times, we come from a family, a large family, and none of us, brothers or sisters, have more than 3 kids. That's different because we were able to look at our mom's situation and say, damn, look at how hard her life is. And she did all this with no father involved. Ain't no freaking way I'm going to do that and put myself in that position. That's different from what we're talking about. Sherry, what we're talking about, like Tasha said, is the codependency relationships that develops because a parent puts that child in a position to make decisions in crisis. So guess what we're talking about, sis? We're talking about situations where, Darcel, I know you can relate to this, where when you grow up with a mom that has alcohol issues, issues with getting beat, and she leans on you, you're the one that got to keep fixing her, keep fixing him. You know what I'm saying? That becomes your norm in a big way. You know what I'm saying? Sherry, do you understand what we're talking about now? I got goosebumps because we all know women right now that make horrible choices in the men because they keep picking somebody that they gonna fix. Well, where did that come from? They're still laughing because you picking somebody that you got the guy that's standing in front of you don't need fixing. You don't want him. What this term that they're then left now, he's a simp. He got a good job, he's stable, he not gonna hit you, he don't curse you, he educated. I don't want him. Let me get this mother, let me get this mofo over here that he don't keep a job, but he trying. Well, he really don't hit me, he just be pushing me, you know. They get people. Go ahead, D. Woo, woo, woo. Absolutely. So, sis, do you get where we're going with this? Hannah says, she said, this show is a form of therapy. She said, y'all making me address childhood wounds in this joint. You know, I'm sorry. Yo, once I take on a topic, I go all in, D. I don't play. I'm gonna do my research and I'm gonna come with it for real, for real. Shavana says, I need a respectful, cooperative thug. Baby, I understand. I understand. And that's the thing. It's okay to like the qualities you want, but thank you for saying that, Shavana. Make sure he respectful. I'm not saying all thugs are bad. You know what I'm saying? I take pride in telling people I wasn't a sophisticated thug. Real talk, y'all. I couldn't get no chicks being a nerd like I was. I'll tell this audience a short story of how black was invented. A lot of people don't know this story of how black was even invented. They don't know the story. When I separated from my wife, and all of a sudden I had to get back out in the dating scene. Long story short, I used to go to Target. I saw this little chick. I was feeling everything. So, okay, I would go in Target every single day. And I did this for like a week. And finally, I got the nerve. I knew she liked me because every time I went to Target and bought even a candy bar or something, she had a little comment to say or whatever. But I was so out of practice having been married. So, let me get my nerve up. So, finally, I got my little nerve up. Now, keep in mind, back then I had a little swag. I had my thing together. So, I said what I needed to say. She went for it. Now it was time to actually go on a date with her. And so I got petrified at the last minute and I called my boy. I said, look, I need to meet to make this a double date. So, man, he was like, oh, look, I need you, man. Because again, I was like, I don't know if I can handle this. I called him and I told him, I need you to back me up. I told her to bring a friend. Long story short, we go pick him up, and my boy, at that time, I was driving a company car. I think it was like a Ford Escort or something like that, and he had a little Mitsubishi, a sports car, so it was better. He had a little. It was tricked out. We go pick him up in a little sports car. Stopped at the liquor store, got some wine because we was gonna be sophisticated with it. Me and my boy, we took him back to his place. We playing we serving wine, playing music, playing cards. During the course of the conversation, they start asking us all kinds of questions about what sexual positions we like, do we have tattoos, how we treat women. Now, keep in mind, he and I, we both educated, we both working guys, we definitely simps. So we saying all the right things. Well, we respect women, and y'all got, at the time I wasn't black. Oh, Freddie, you got any tattoos? No, would you get a tattoo? No, I'm scared to get a tattoo. I'm scared of pain, blah, blah, blah. I'm answering these questions honestly and real. This shit goes on for an hour or so. So finally, I'm in the kitchen. I'm rubbing my hands together. I'm thinking it's going great. You know, I come back to the table. The girls say, "All right, we get ready to go." Like what? Like, what? I didn't see. I did not see that coming. I'm like, so what happened? Why y'all leaving so early? It's just early. It's a Saturday night. Yeah, we're gonna go and everything, blah blah. So they left, and everything. So anyway, I'm me and my boy. We sitting around twiddling our thumbs and shit. We had spent money. We didn't know what had happened. So so I got home and I'm walking around this big 3-bedroom house by myself, wondering what the hell did I do wrong. I called my nephew and I told him the situation. He said, "Look, man, I'm gonna go on and tell you, you know, he said, you too soft, you a buster." He said they was trying to fuck, and he laid it out for me. So me being me, I sat in that house the rest of the weekend and I played the whole thing in my head, what I did wrong. And I was so angry, I decided to create and invent black. I literally created black. I chose a nickname that had a little bit of danger to it. It had a little bit of mystery. It was anonymous because there's so many blacks around. It was common. And I decided that everything in my personality that I was at the time, I'm going to be the opposite. Instead of, being this educated professional, I'm going to be a thug. And let me sit here and tell you right now, when the thug was born, they loved every bit of it. They loved every bit of me being a thug at that point because now I was that person where honestly, I could pinpoint the weakness in them and exploit it to the ultimate level. And that taught me a valuable lesson about how to deal with the opposite sex. Karma says, "Oh, I became a pimp, and you ladies, ride and die with me, have seen me operate and do some of the low down is dirty. I've taken Darcel on picnics and cookouts with me with women that I was sleeping with, sisters and mothers, all at the same time, and showed up with her. It was what it was, you know, you know, she met black. Sh- eh, Right. D met That's the truth. That's the truth. But the only reason you met Freddie first because you met me at my job. So I had to be, and that's what made us so cool is that at work, I was one way. The moment we left that parking lot, I remember the moment we hang out and was like, damn, you cool as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Cause now D was like, damn, he freaky as shit or whatever, but then that's the thing. Now, Tasha, you right. When you met me, I don't know, was I working at the time? I was at my apartment. I went I was working at the mall. Okay. Oh my God. So she met me at the right time. I worked at the mall and I was working in a little kiosk right across from a store where the strippers would go get dressed from. It so all day long I saw hoes coming in. It was a whole aces in that joint. And when she met me, I stayed up all night running them through. Hence, I had chlamydia back to back to back to back because I was out there. So that's, but anyway, I know I'm getting off to the point of this conversation. It matters. It really matters. I knew how to exploit those qualities in all seriousness, and it made a difference. And when I chose somebody to get serious about, I chose different. But I hate it too. I hate it too. I'm gonna ask you ladies a question. Shavana has a question, so I'm gonna ask you women before we get to closing out about how to actually recover from emotional incest. Shavana says, "So do all black people have a work them, a worked me, and after work, basically she's saying, does all do you think all men have a work them?" Okay, absolutely, absolutely. There you go. Uh, uh, What do you mean? What's the question, sis? I think to answer the question, I think everybody has a work me. I think as African Americans, it's inbred in us when we go to work to keep certain things under wrap. We put on our quote unquote white voice, our quote unquote white attitude. That's it. And I'm saying that for us in on this panel because we all of a certain age, and when we got a job, we want to keep the job. Now this new generation, no, they are who they are. You're gonna have to accept them because they don't give a damn about losing a job. They don't give a damn about how they're viewed. And so for them, when they walk in, that's what you get. That's why when you walk in a fast food place or a Family Dollar, that's what you're getting. That real person, they will stand there right in front of you and say, "I hate this damn job." Blah blah blah. I don't care what you do. You're getting the real them. But our generation, yeah, we all have a work me. We all have a work me. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Let me close out by getting, I want to make sure we get back to, this. I actually skipped the whole section because we got sidetracked a little bit. Y'all know I do some serious research when I do this. So, but I don't want to leave this part out. How do we break the cycle of emotional incest? I am proud that we got to cover a lot of scenarios, a lot of systems. I hope that the audience understands a little bit better what we mean by it since we're talking about it, sis. You know what I'm saying? So, with that said, how do we break the cycle then? Because again, we're not in any way saying that a mother and a child shouldn't be close, not on any level. You know, there's no more beautiful sight when you see a father in the park with his daughters. We have a thing now called Girl Dad. When Kobe Bryant died, it made a lot of fathers actually step up and actually appreciate having daughters for the first time. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Not to mention the fact that, as I said with my own sister as an example, If you can raise a child to where that child respects you at such a level that y'all have a friendship as well, but she still respects the boundaries of parenting, it doesn't get any better than that. But we're talking about the inappropriate relationships. We're talking about the ones that we know it's not sexual and touching, but we know it's just inappropriate in, in the different ways we discuss. So how do we break that cycle? So there's four ways that we talk about here. One of them is obvious. It's therapy. I'm not going to read the whole thing about it. I I wanted that one in there because I think, well, I'm gonna leave my thoughts for last. What do you guys think about set therapy breaking the cycle of what we see? What do you think is the value of that? I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Tasha, you had something to add? Okay. Sherry, you got anything to add about therapy? Okay. And so Sherry, you and Tasha's comments, I want to bookend that by saying that's what you can learn to do in therapy. I want to make that the important part because that doesn't happen overnight. And so, like Shafana is saying, she said she went to a therapist, finding that a licensed therapist that you can confide in. And that's the point I want to talk about with Daracel, because we do as Black people, male and female, it's not a sign of weakness to talk to somebody. Let me tell you something. We are broken people, folks. We got a lot of skeletons, things that we do that we've covered and kept down for so long. And it's no wonder why we cannot even relate to each other. And so the idea that we have to go to somebody we could talk this through, we've got to get away from thinking that make you weak or whatever. You know what? Sitting around smoking a blunt with your boys talking shit out, that's not the answer. Iron sharpens iron. And some uneducated dumb fuckers rolling blunts all day, sitting in the basement telling you what you ought to do, that's not the answer. It's also not the answer getting on the phone, gossiping with another woman, female friend that's just as broken and misguided as you are. So guess what? It's okay to seek out somebody. I like the fact that Dee said who's neutral. See, here's the key there. That person don't have a dog in the race. Sometimes when we go to people that we think are friends or whatever, let me share something with the audience now. Everybody don't want to see you win. And sometimes misery loves company. Guess what? So you think that good girlfriend who can't keep a man her damn self want to see you win? And I'm not talking about real friends, but there are people sometimes we go to thinking that they're giving you some good advice. And let me tell you what happens in those instances. They'll hear you out to hear your business. And the moment you leave and hang that phone call up, guess what they're doing? Whoo, let me tell you how fucked up this girl is. She's sleeping with everybody. Folks, therapy, believe it or not, you have a neutral, licensed person who's qualified and skilled to listen and let you talk. Because guess what? I can't understate the value of having somebody to talk to. And that's why I wanted to share the importance of therapy in there. That's the thing. Number two, self help meetings. It talks about if you object to seeing a counselor or therapy just doesn't work for you because it's not for everybody. Consider attending self help meetings. I'm not going to read the rest of it. Anybody, why do you think that that might be a way to break the cycle? I want to see if you guys getting it. There you go. Uh, uh, Absolutely. No, no. Let me go on this on the self help meetings as well. And I must say this something I discovered for myself. Losing weight. Oh my God, it's a battle, and I've discovered I don't have the discipline and the whatever it takes to do it by myself. When I did lose weight, it was because I had somebody helping to push me. And so that same concept, I thought about this because what you said, Tasha, being able to share it in a group way, because you know what happens when you do that? You find out you're not by yourself. One of the worst things when it comes to anytime you're trying to fix yourself on something, we have a tendency to introvert and think we're the only person going through it. So when you sit in these walls and you see yourself getting fatter and fatter and more unhealthy, the tendency, I'm using weight as an example, my own personal example, there's a tendency to think that, damn, and you do even worse habits. But when you get with somebody that, and you see, I'll give an example. When I'm gonna go back to my club example. When I have gone to the club, and even recently before the COVID, when I would hate to go out to a sports bar because you hate getting dressed, you can't fit in no good clothes. But then you know what? You stretch a jacket on your fat back, you get yourself dressed up together. You walk in there, and it's always some fucker in there that's fatter than you. And then you kind of feel a little bit better, like, well, damn, not only is he a fatter fuck than me, he up moving around, and I don't feel too bad about myself now. So that same concept when it comes to self-help meetings, to be able to go somewhere and open up, like Tasha said, these are strangers, so there's less inhibition to be able to share things because you don't know me, I don't know you, y'all don't know this, but this show is my therapy. You know, I feel safe sharing this because number one, all the faces on the screen right now I know love me. Y'all know my shit. The ones that don't know me, look, you're getting to know me through me revealing some shit. If you don't love me, then okay. And if you do grew to like me or whatever, cool. But my thing is, I'm able to come here every week and get a lot of this stuff out because I said from the beginning, I don't understand what's going on in the dating world, and I'm asking for you guys to help me figure it out. So I learn from everybody that comes on. I really do. And Shafana, you're right. Even family sometimes don't want to see you win. You know, my sister knows I have a saying: just because you family, don't mean you friends. All right, number three, psychoeducate. I'm sorry, Dee. I don't want. You had a point, baby. Thank you. Number three, psychoeducation. The key to recovery may simply be a better understanding of what happened to you and its subsequent effects. So do some research and educate yourself on emotional incest. Let me say this before the guys you speak. When we list put this topic out there, I know most people didn't know where we were going with it. Some probably never had even heard of the term emotional incest. So the idea that we can bring this to this forum, I hope that for some people, whether you're going through it or not, you can say, wow, I didn't know that. I learned something. And I hope you can examine your own relationships that you've had with your parent and the relationship you have or have had with your children, because it's not too late. So that's the part, is creating a better understanding, because you know what we tell ourselves? What's the old saying? When you know better, you know, you know. So anybody want to comment on the psychoeducation portion? Woo, you said something there. You said something there. We're the most educated generation on and ever in time. You know, y'all two might be too young, Tasha and D, to remember Encyclopedia Britannicas. Me and Sherry know about that when we had to do homework assignments. Me and what you know about an Encyclopedia Britannica? Shit. See, we didn't have no damn CD. Sherry, when we had to write a book report, you really had to go get a big ass encyclopedia and think about where we are now, that iPhones and Android phones, that with blazing speed we can look up anything we want to educate ourselves. And Tasha, you're right, these little computers, they are much more than porn and fuckery. There you go. Thank you for saying that, because that's the other another point I want to say. A lot of people are scared to come on because Sherry, they older and they think you can't learn nothing from young people, you know. And so I'm an educated man. Oh my God. I've said this saying all the time. True education is everything you don't know. It's not about what you know. Real education is realizing just how much you don't know. I don't care who I come in contact with. I'm trying to take something from you. I'm trying to get something so that that can stick to me. So when I hear little sayings from a D or from a Tasha, from a Terry, from that sticks in my brain, and I'm like, my brain is like Jeopardy. I'm filing that away because I'm thinking I'm gonna have to use that at some point. I'm gonna need that at some point. So it's learning from each other. The last one, guys, is called journaling. Writing things down has proven to relieve stress. Whether you're simply overwhelmed by the day's events or you experienced emotional incest as a child. So try writing down your experience with it, as well as how it makes you feel or how it affects your day. It may just provide some comfort or some relief. Anybody, because I got something to say. Anybody. I love it. I love it. D, Sherry, anything? I'm sorry, go ahead, sis. D, you got anything to add to that? D, D, you got anything to add? Wow. Thank you, baby. And as you see, I've done the same. Me and my sister grew up in the same household, and we've learned things about each other on this show that we never talked about. So I thank you for saying that because I think that's the most thing I'm proud of. That I look forward to this. Let me tell y'all something. And I'll get to the write down part. I've worked all day. It's been a hectic day. I've had to get numbskulls started in school. I've had numbskulls on the phone. I got off an hour later than I was intending to. But I'm happy, in the sense that my day went pretty good. But every show I look forward to because I need to see y'all faces. And what you said, D, I know it's a safe place for me. I know all the crap that I lay out here. Number one, I can go lay down and watch TV tonight because it was said in a place where y'all, I said it a second ago, y'all don't judge me for it. Y'all don't judge me for it, and I know I feel safe in saying that. And to even the audience out there, I post these videos. I don't care if somebody go back and say, damn, he said what? For me, this is real. This is my truth. And it is what it is. To piggyback on that, the writing part down, anybody who knows me or maybe not noticed about me, I've always got a pad and a pen next to me, even by my bed. When I wake up in the middle of the night, an idea hits me. I write all kinds of shit down. I have so many different notes all around. Sometime at the beginning of my week, I have 4 or 5 notes with different things scribbled on, and then I have to start my week by organizing because what I do is something that is important to me or that I need to address or look up, like you said, Tasha, or think. I jot it down before I forget it, and then I organize that so I can set my week. I know when I start my week what's my priorities, what I have to do. Then I have my second list of things I try to get to. I have Amazon pulled up and Walmart pulled up and room to go because I'm looking at furniture, this and that. But to the point of recovering all these things, even the stuff that's on my brain that I know, like I talked about my weight, for example, and my issues with intimacy with women, because again, everybody know I don't like to. I research that. I write those things down, and I set goals. Okay, well, let me try to be better at this or do this a little bit better. I don't always achieve it. Just so you know, there's many a week where damn, I didn't get that done at all, and I didn't make no progress here. So I write it down again. So, Sherry, when I tell you write it down because it's real and it's got to stare you in the face because now you can't escape it because you're seeing it that, okay, I didn't do that. I haven't got to that yet. It's real. And so when you're feeling overwhelmed, like they say, now I don't feel like necessarily I went through any emotional incest. I'm grateful that my mom didn't cross no boundaries in that sense, but we have some issues. My mom wasn't a very affectionate person and sense like that. So I'm always cognizant of how that shaped me and how that plays into how I deal with the opposite sex. And I think that's why I share so much because growing up, we didn't share anything. Right, Sherry? So for me now, breaking that cycle for me is I'm not holding shit in, you know, that I'm going to tell you how I feel and what I'm thinking. And that's for me very therapeutic. So that's kind of how I deal with things. So that's the show, folks. I thank everybody for tuning in. Shafana, I miss you, and Bert. Please come on again. I would love for you guys to be as regular as you can. I love your views. Jenny for popping in, at least checking me out. Comma Dizzy, thank you for posting some questions. Lynette, sweetheart, I'd love to get you on camera. Anybody out there watching, I'll say again what I said at the top of this. You're so welcome to come here. I hope you're seeing that this is a safe environment. We don't judge. You don't have to say a whole lot. I'd love to see your face. Please be a part of this. I'm trying to grow this show one subscription at a time. I hit a milestone yesterday. I'm at 50 subscribers, and that's not a whole lot, but I'm at 50. I should be 3 times that, but as we all know, it's hard to get African American people to support you and to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend. So I'm gonna have to put it out there once again. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please take the time to go to YouTube. It's called Real Talk for Real Men. If you feel like you can't find it, let me know. I'll send you the direct link. It literally takes you 2 minutes to click on subscribe, literally. And I'm imploring you guys to support me, please, because I want to continue doing this and grow the audience and have bigger topics. And I got a much bigger plan in place for it anyway. So for you guys who come to watch this video afterwards, if you see this, take the time to please subscribe. Tell a friend. I beg you to tell 1 or 2 people that, hey, there's a guy trying to do something positive. Take 2 minutes of your time. Subscribe. If you don't plan on watching forever, that's okay. It's about support. We're the only people on the face of the planet that do not support each other at all. It really makes no sense that I have 50 subscribers, but 150 friends. And I got friends on here who have 300 friends. I know for a fact that you guys have told others to subscribe. I got family members that peek in that have not hit the subscription button. I'm not here blasting you out. I'm asking you to take the time to subscribe, please. If we got time to spend looking at what's the TikTok videos, and if I post some foolishness, it gets 100 likes. Something as important as this, I'm asking you is to hit the subscription button. Tell a couple of people that, hey, somebody's trying to do something that might actually help the humankind, help other people. Hell, it might help you. So I'm asking for you to comment on my videos, hit that like button. Please share it with other people. We are talking about some valuable, important things here. And most importantly, please subscribe. That's what's going to allow me to continue to do this. So that's my plea. I'll let you guys have the last word on a Wednesday, another edition of Real Talk for Real Men. I'll let anybody have the floor. All righty. Well, thank you guys again. I can't say that enough. Um, been a good day. It's been a really good day. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Sherry, D, Tasha, for your views. You guys make this show. You make this real. And I love seeing you guys. I thank y'all. I think y'all more than y'all will ever know, seriously. Because y'all show up week in and week out. We challenge each other, we push each other, we learn from each other, we love each other. So thank you guys so much. See you on Saturday. And again, if you guys have something you want me to talk about, let me know. Everybody, it's been another great edition of Real Talk for Real Men. Enjoy the rest of your week until I see you on Saturday. All right, that ended it. Hold on, guys. I'm ending it on YouTube as well.